The benchmark 30-year fixed-rate mortgage slipping to 4.15% last week, according to mortgage giant Freddie Mac. That was down from 4.17% from the week before. Just a year ago, that rate stood at 3.65%, the lowest on record going back to at least 1971. But Goldman Sachs analysts say that it will not stay low for long. They see a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage rate rising to 5.5% by 2019. Joining us now is Collingwood Group Chairman and former Fannie Mae executive Tim Rood. Tim, where are mortgage rates headed? And do you think, broadly speaking, that if you are ready to buy a home, you need to act now, act fast?
Hey, Dagan, thanks for having me. Obviously, I think, well, not obviously, it certainly looks like interest rates are going up. You've seen interest rates go up 25 basis points or 1/4% since the election. I mean, that's hardly the biggest cautionary tale. I mean, they're still at nearly all-time lows. And you got to put these things into perspective. I mean, 1/4% of interest rate is about a $50 increase on a monthly payment. And what you're seeing is that, the Fed, of course, is looking to raise interest rates as quickly as they can, up to maybe even 3 times in the coming year. But relative to renting a comparable property, certainly owning a home is substantially less expensive.
Tim, my question to you is there's a lot of dynamics going behind the home ownership phenomenon right now. We did have the Great Recession, but, it came out last week that actually over 1 million Americans are actually delinquent on their car loans by 2 months or more. We're seeing consumer debt at all-time highs. Can you give some color on some of the dynamics that are impacting the market and why home affordability is still at a 51-year low, given the low rates we've seen for the last 5 to 6 years and going forward?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things going on there. It's a pretty nested topic. I mean, here's a couple of things just to consider is that, you've got a whole millennial population right now, which are now, coming of age into that prime home buying age of, mid-20s. You want to see the prime home buying age is probably going to be in the late 20s, early 30s. However, the challenge is that about 91% of these millennials, that's 80 some odd million households or people, have got less than $1,000 in savings. And this gets to the point of, one of the challenges that we're seeing for people getting into home ownership is obviously rates are high, but this sharing economy, whether you're sharing your property, whether you're sharing your car, whether you're sharing your data plan, whatever it might be, people aren't able to, you have to own things to build any sort of wealth. And as we all know, I mean, I don't think I've known any good story where somebody made their fortunes on timeshares. I mean, you've got to find ways of getting folks to start saving money and then investing in things like home ownership where they have a wealth creation opportunity.
Well, quick follow-up on that is you talked about the millennials. Is the student debt crisis impacting their ability to go out and purchase homes and get a mortgage because they are burdened by this big debt, college debt crisis that we're having right now?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the challenge right now is, I was just talking actually with my family over the weekend, is it seems kind of like, we're all trying to, we're playing the same playbook of our parents. As a Gen Xer, I played that same playbook in terms of, you buy your house, you buy stocks. I got killed in the stock market crash in the early 2000s. I bought my second home first in the mid 2000s, and we're still digging our way out. You're seeing that millennials are trying to do that same thing. If they get a better education, higher education, then that their future is going to be more certain and more profitable. What we're seeing is that, of course, with tuitions going up 200, 300%, in the last decade or so, and that this constant availability and need to purchase things as opposed to save, is that they're having trouble getting into that first leg of home ownership and that wealth creation opportunity. And the whole system seems to be breaking down. Gen Xers are broke. You're seeing baby boomers. An article just came out in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend. They're the poorest that they've been in 3 decades. So we need a couple of new plays here, and we need to stop kidding ourselves that, that the consumption-based economy is the best way for this country and for individuals to succeed.
Tim, Kirsten Haglund here. Also, I think what's an interesting phenomenon, I'm a millennial, obviously, so I totally get what you're saying there. But for baby boomers as well, you're seeing this huge influx of baby boomers leaving their homes and moving into cities, right, and trying to buy in cities. So how is that going to affect this market as well?
Well, that's been one of the issues is that you found that millennials and baby boomers are colliding in these urban areas. What's happening is because the rents have gone so high, you've got, almost 20 million renters that are paying 50% of their income towards their rents, that they're forcing themselves out of the urban areas. And so I think they're giving way to the baby boomers who choose that, all the conveniences of being in the city, but there's not enough of those baby boomers doing that.
I think that. Tim, real quick, since we're talking about regions, what are the worst states to get a mortgage?
Well, mortgage rates are really kind of based on, whether a lender is seeing it as a competitive environment, what the cost of compliance to get into that state, but also some of the issues such as risk management, the high foreclosure rates, the time it takes to foreclose, things like the Dakotas, Montana, things like that. You're seeing less rate pressure in places like California and Colorado, but look, you're going to be more likely to make a purchase decision based on a Golden Girls Cafe being local than you are whether or not the interest rates are at 8.75% higher in one of those states.
That was very well put, and I'm glad you were watching an earlier portion of the program, Tim.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I would visit the home point or what's the Point Break one?
Point Break.
Absolutely, all the time.
Tim, great to see you. Thank you so much. Tim Rood. And automatic reappearance just because of that one thing. Coming up.